Welcome to this special episode of AMSEcast. We're celebrating Nuclear Science Week, which is organized every year by our friends at the National Museum of Nuclear Science and History in Albuquerque. Activities are around the country, including at AMSE in Oak Ridge. But this year we're at the Expo, which is held in different spots around the country every year. This year it's in San Diego at the Fleet Science Center. And we're really excited to have Jennifer Hayden with us.
Hello.
Who kind of organized this whole thing. It's pretty awesome.
It is, yes. So this is something that has been kind of a pride and joy of the museums, of the Nuclear Museum, for 14 years now. So we are celebrating our 14th year of Nuclear Science Week, yes.
That is terrific. Tell me about your role. I know you're the leader at the museum, the director. Tell me about what you do and what the mission of the museum is there in Albuquerque.
Absolutely. So I'm Jennifer Hayden. I'm the president and CEO of the National Museum of Nuclear Science and History. And our mission is to be America's resource for nuclear science and history. And so at the museum we tell the story of the atomic age, from early developments such as the Manhattan Project and Cold War to today's peaceful uses. So nuclear medicine, nuclear energy, space exploration. We really are a venue, a tourism destination that people can come to learn all about nuclear, from seeing the same type of airplane as the Enola Gay, the B-29 Superfortress, to going and learning about nuclear energy and how you can provide enough electricity for a city. So something for everyone.
This is an amazing place. I was fortunate to visit there. I'm forgetting now, a month or so, a couple months ago. Time is flying by, Jennifer, but just a great museum, great exhibits, amazing programs you do. Tell us about outside what you show. I know you mentioned the plane, but what else is available at your museum?
So we have a 9-acre outdoor exhibit area. And so in that exhibit area, we have airplanes such as the B-29 Superfortress, B-52B Stratofortress. We have jets and a couple of other bombers. We have missiles and military vehicles. We have a nuclear submarine sail, the USS James K. Polk. And people often ask, is the submarine under the ground or is it just the conning tower? And it is, unfortunately, just the conning tower. We also
you could say it's no one's going to
We could. I mean, you would really have to want to look.
Right.
And then we also have the Trinity Tower, the replica of the Trinity Tower, which held the world's first atomic bomb, detonated in 1945 in White Sands, New Mexico. So it is a replica over a 100-foot steel tower.
That is such a neat and important part of what you do there. And I don't want to give short shrift, though. The exhibits inside are phenomenal as well.
Thank you.
It's really well done. So tell me about Nuclear Science Week. You said your pride and joy. When was it developed? And I know your predecessor, Jim Walther, has been such a good friend to us as well at AMSE. What are your goals, and how have you seen this event grow over the years?
So I have had the pleasure of working for the National Museum of Nuclear Science and History for 14 years. So I was there during its inception of Nuclear Science Week. And our museum is 54 years old. We've been around since 1969. And my predecessor, the previous executive director, was there for 26 years. And it was in 2009 he really thought, how can we bring nuclear to the community outside of the four walls of the museum? And so he really started reaching out to organizations such as the American Nuclear Society, NAYGN, and then nuclear industry partners, especially within the nuclear energy field. And said, okay, how can we come together? And a international steering committee was created where individuals from all of these organizations and businesses came together to represent nuclear. A national host city event, a big event, if you will, was decided that we would have that every year and go from city to city to bring this to different communities all over the nation. Back then it was known as National Nuclear Science Week because it was really within the United States. We created the International Steering Committee in about 2014 when people from Canada and the UK, Brazil, United Emirates, Australia came on board. So we dropped national, and it is now Nuclear Science Week because it is worldwide. And so we have been in locations all over the United States. We have been in Knoxville many years ago. We have been in Wilmington, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Seattle, Albuquerque, of course. And this year we did decide San Diego. We have wonderful friends and partners at General Atomics. And so bringing it to Balboa Park as a museum professional, this just truly made so much sense for us to bring nuclear to California in a very engaging way.
Well, you succeeded in that, and Balboa Park is amazing. It had been years since I've been here, but going around and seeing not just the Fleet Museum, but the Air and Space and natural history, so many amazing things to see right here in Balboa Park in San Diego. You know, we talked to some of the other guests today about the nuclear renaissance that's going on right now.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that? Why is that important? What role should nuclear play in our portfolio of energy for the nation and for the world?
Well, in that, I always speak on behalf of the museum.
Yes.
That it is something that I definitely have so many opinions of my own, and being the president and CEO of a nuclear museum, I have learned so much in my involvement with Nuclear Science Week, working with organizations such as Duke Energy at Brunswick, and GE Hitachi, Westinghouse, Southern Nuclear. It is such a wonderful way to look into the future. Mothers for Nuclear is another organization that I've always been kind of fond of as a mother myself. And so at the museum, I always look at it as an opportunity. We are in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I am originally from West Texas, which is Texas and oil. And so having something and being able to provide even more information about carbon-free energy through nuclear is very important to me. And having the museum, where we welcome over 75,000 visitors annually, many of whom are out of state from New Mexico, so international visitors as well, it's important to me. And so I want us to be able to not only provide information about Manhattan Project and Cold War, which we do in spades throughout all of our objects, I do want to look towards the peaceful uses of nuclear, because it is such a beneficial, in my opinion, source of energy.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And I know something else we share is a passion for education, for STEM education. Can you tell us a bit about how your museum is doing that in Albuquerque and around the region?
STEM is incredibly important to us. I feel like that's also one of the reasons Nuclear Science Week came about. But we also have a Discover STEAM week and day for the museum, so we did incorporate art into STEM. And that's something that takes place every February. And it is in Albuquerque at the museum, Nuclear Science Week, we invite people from all over, including Title I students, where we pay for their busing and their admissions to come to the museum. So we welcome over 1,000 students that week alone, and we bring in professionals, nuclear professionals, and during Discover STEAM Week, we bring in STEM professionals. And so they do the engaging hands-on activities, much like right now at Fleet Science Center, that can almost light the fire within these students as far as STEM, looking towards the future. I would like to be that when I grow up. And so it's just a way to, informal education is so important. As a museum, we are in informal education centers. So by providing a welcoming and engaging activity and projects and things like this, I truly believe help our future look in and see what could I do that might be within this field. It
gives them that possible vision of their future, and it makes it, I think, not scary.
Right.
In a way,
very much so.
And they can envision that for themselves.
Best part of museums, we make things not as scary. Come in and learn on your own, at your own pace, and take away from it what you will. Draw your own conclusions.
Exactly. So tell me, I've had the pleasure of visiting the museum. How can our listeners learn more about the museum and about how they can get there and what they'll see when they get there?
Oh, absolutely. So we are all over social media, but definitely visiting nuclearmuseum.org. And then we also run nuclearscienceweek.org as well. So we have those two websites, and nuclearmuseum.org would give admissions, a map, everything as far as exhibits, all of our upcoming events and programs. And we also operate Atomic Heritage Foundation as far as the Manhattan Project, Voices of the Manhattan Project. And that is something that people can look to see over 600 oral histories of men and women who worked in the Manhattan Project or during the Manhattan Project. So many websites. We have so many websites out there, but really nuclearmuseum.org is the main one.
We'll do it. And you have have to be happy. I know right now it's a little noisy here, but all these kids in here engaging with science, thinking about nuclear, pretty cool.
This was the whole reason Nuclear Science Week was established, to bring in community members to look, to learn more about nuclear. And being at the Fleet Science Center, the most well-attended museum in Balboa Park, is what they have told us. This is already, it exceeds all of my expectations. So we are very pleased.
It's incredible. Jennifer, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of AMSEcast. For more information on this topic or any others, you can always visit us at amse.org or find, like, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I invite you to visit the American Museum of Science and Energy and the K25 History Center in person. You can also shop at our online store and become a member at amse.org. Thanks to our production team and Matt Mullins, plus our supportive colleagues at the Department of Energy's Office of Science, Office of Environmental Management, and Office of Legacy Management, as well as Oak Ridge National Laboratory, the Y-12 National Security Complex, NNSA, and the AMSE Foundation. And of course, thanks to our wonderful guests today and to all of you for listening. I hope you'll join us for the next episode of AMSEcast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would like to ask that you consider becoming a member of the 117 Society, the newest membership opportunity offered by the American Museum of Science and Energy Foundation. By joining the 117 Society, you will help us continue this podcast and our other innovative programming. You will support the expansion of our vitally important educational outreach, including virtual classes, and you will help ensure that both the American Museum of Science and Energy and the K25 History Center can continue to provide world-class exhibits to our community and to the world. The 117 Society is vital to the future of AMSE and the K25 History Center. I hope you will consider joining, and thank you very much.